Hey, this is Mike Muir from SUICIDAL Tendencies, and you're watching Liga No Mos.
E aí, rapaziada, hoje o Se Liga No Mos é simplesmente com Mike Muir, mentor, fundador, Suicidal Tendencies, Infectious Grooves, entre outros. A gente vai bater um papo rápido para perguntar, para saber um pouco das influências, de como começou a sua carreira musical. E aí eu queria ver com o Mike como que foi a ideia de montar o Suicidal numa época, no começo dos anos 80.
I think the problem with most people when they start something is they want to do something so bad. They want to do it more than they know what they're really doing. When we started Suicidal, I wasn't really trying to start a band. You know, it's like nowadays people, they got their name, they got their logo, they're imagining playing these shows, and they don't have any music. For us, we never really thought about that. Where I lived, someone had drums, one of my friends, and they were going to get kicked out of their apartment. Their mom, so they said, you got to get rid of the drums. So we're like, oh, you can put the drums at our place. And if you have drums, someone's going to hit it, you know, and then someone else got a guitar. So for us, it was just kind of like someone playing, you know, football in the park. You know, it was just something fun. It wasn't like, oh, dude, we're going to be doing shows and stuff. And since it wasn't something that we, like a lot of people, they copy someone. They just copy because they want to be like that. They want to have that definition of success. There was no one that we really liked, so we just did our own thing and didn't care about or worry about if people would like us. And we started, everybody said, no one's gonna like it. They're not gonna like the way you look. They're not gonna like what you're playing. You can't do this, you can't do that. And we're like, I don't give a fuck. We're doing our thing and it doesn't matter, you know? So I think that's the best thing. We never tried to make other people happy. We just did what we wanted to do.
Oh, you feel my pain, can you see my pain? You hear my pain, you feel my pain, you taste my pain, you think my pain, you see my pain, you hear my pain, everyone,
Quais as bandas que influenciaram pro começo do Suicidal, pro começo da sua carreira?
I think the thing is one of my best friends before we did our first record came and said, you know, Mike, you guys got a great opportunity, you know, listen to the radio, you guys can do that, you know? People don't get that chance, you know, where we're from. And I was like going, you know what? When I hear the radio, I turn it off because I don't like it. So why would I want to sound like something I don't like? My dad always said, if someone does something and you don't like it, when you make that judgment, you're twice as bad if you do that. So I'm not worried about being liked. My dad always said, people get in trouble in life when they do things for other people to like them. And when you do things for other people to like you, you usually end up hating yourself. And so for us, it was a situation we didn't care if people liked it. You know, punk rock bands bragged about selling a couple thousand records and stuff at the time. We didn't worry about it. We didn't worry about fitting in. We didn't, you know, worry about if anyone would like it. We didn't think anybody would, but just did what we liked, and that was the priority. And I think in life, that's the problem. Too many people are doing things for other people's reaction. It's like now you got Facebook. It's like you got to get so many likes and so many comments, and you do things, and you got to have your pose right. People aren't doing it because their heart and their mind and their soul. They're doing it for how many likes they can get on a Facebook, for someone else's reaction, for someone else's, you know, credit. And at the end of the day, when you put your head on the pillow, that doesn't do you shit. You know what I mean? You wake up tomorrow and you feel you're still miserable inside. And some people will say, follow your dreams. I don't follow them. You got to make them happen. You know what I mean? You got to stand up for yourself. You got to believe in yourself because no one's going to teach you how to do that. And too many people look for books, right? Philosophers or this or that to be inspired and sit back and, oh, wow, it makes sense now. But they're still sitting on their ass. And, you know, Suicidal's not about that. It's like, you know, you sit on your ass when you're thinking about what you're doing wrong and figure out a better plan. Then you get up your ass the next day and you go about doing it in a better way.
Como foi ficar o intervalo do primeiro álbum, Suicidal Tendencies, até a gravação do Join the Army? Houve um problema que a justiça barrou o Suicidal de tocar 2 anos em seguida. E aí depois que vocês retomaram a carreira, como que foi isso?
I got my leg ripped open, and so I had to learn to re-walk again and stuff like that. So there's some things like that, and you know, got Rocky in the band, went through some changes. We're a band that's always gone through a lot of changes. You know, depending on who you talk to, some people say there's 20 people in the band before we ever did the first record, and I think that that's probably the reason why I'm still one of the many reasons why I'm still here today. Is I think some people in the old days, they used to marry their first girlfriend and it all work out. And I think a lot of times people realize now your first girlfriend is just because she's close by and she says yes, and that's a problem. But we've always wanted to, I personally want to make a statement, want to feel like I'm doing something. And now when you get to a point when you go from being 16 and moving out on your own to being, older and having 3 kids, you want to be there and set an example. When I was younger, a lot of people said, hey man, if I had a dad like yours, I wouldn't have had the problems I had or ended up in jail and things like that. And so I think that with suicidal, we've always said it's like, it's like we always use the word family, and people overuse that word, but it's like family in the sense of what my brother was. When I would mess up and go, oh, it's not my fault, he'd slap me in the face. Go, what the fuck are you talking about? You're the one that did that, My dad would talk, my brother would slap. And I think that's what suicidal is. It's like the friend, but not there to sit there and go, oh, it's okay, it's all right. To sit there and fucking go, you know what? Regroup, get your shit together, go out there. And as we say, give them hell, but don't put yourself through hell.
Desses 30 anos de carreira, qual o momento que ele se sentiu mais feliz, o momento que ele se sentiu mais à vontade dentro da música?
My dad says something and I think it's very true. He goes, when people talk about the good old days, that's bad news. And all my friends will talk about the good old days. I go, dude, you're a miserable fucks then, you're miserable fucks now. I think it's always that you have to have the ability to look forward, not to justify the past that you don't like, but there's always so many moments that you look at and are special moments. And not just because we're here. When we were in Sao Paulo last year and we did that show and that festival, it was a great moment. We just we're in Europe. We did some crazy festivals, all kind of different. We did a motocross one, punk rock, metal one, skateboard ones, all different styles. And a lot of bands, they're just metal, they're just this and that. We're able to do a lot of different things, and it keeps life exciting and interesting. I think there's a lot of people, they go on the road because they don't like their lives. And when I'm here, my youngest son's 2 years old, and they see the suitcase and they're like, Dada, are we going somewhere? And I'm like, oh, I'm going on the road. And my 2-year-old goes, Dada, stop. Dada, no go on plane. Dada, stay here. It's a hard thing, and so you have the priority, and you sit there and you go, I want to make sure what we do is important and valuable and stuff, And I think remembering each one of my sons, their first show, that's a great moment. He's not, my oldest one just turned 9, but when he was 6 years old, we did a festival in LA, and there was 70,000 people or whatever. And after the show, he goes, Dada, I've seen a lot of bands, but I know why people like you. You got style. And that's the biggest compliment I ever had.
Dos melhores momentos na minha vida foi em 94, o primeiro show que eu vi do Suicidal Tendencies no Monsters of Rock.
You